So the competition with the biggest money I think we've ever seen in Strongman has named its athlete lineup. So we have 10 athletes lined up for the Rogue Invitational Strongman show. For anyone that's been looking at it, there could be a bit of an upset for some of the athletes, or
there's a couple of surprises,
yeah,
when it comes to invitations to that competition. And we have 2 guys who kind of like were on a question mark, and now know for sure that they're not invited. That's Mateusz Kiliakowski and Trey Mitchell.
So one of these athletes that we're talking about, obviously Trey Mitchell, he will be going to the Shaw Classic Strongest Man on Earth, which is in 2 weeks' time, but he hasn't got an invite to the Rogue Invitational, which is November 8th to 10th.
Yeah.
So there's like 2 months, maybe 3 months even.
Injured there, and he kind of competed. He competed in the World's Strongest Man as well.
So Trey toured in November last year, so November 2023, and then competed in May 2024.
Yes.
So say 6 months from start to finish.
Yeah.
Rehab, training, and everything.
Like, it's so impressive because it's such a nasty injury. It's one of the worst probably injuries that any athlete can get, and it's very hard to recover, rehab, and all other stuff. It's just crazy hard. So for him to compete in the World's Strongest Man, and he did relatively okay. Yes, he didn't qualify for the final, but again,
first show,
like
6 months.
It's just unreal. And now the Rogue Invitational kind of like not inviting him. It's, I don't know. To me, it's a little bit strange. You know, maybe they should have waited before or after the Strongest Man on Earth competition to see where he's at.
Yeah, 'cause it's still very early. Yeah. Very, very early.
Because he's still classed as being one of the strongest people in the world. Like, he had just a major setback, you know, but again, he bounced back so well after the injury, in my eyes. And not consider him to be an athlete for Rogue Invitational, it's kind of like, I don't know, strange.
So the same goes for Mateusz then as well. Very strange considering that Mateusz podiumed last year.
Yeah.
After, you could say realistically, not competing in an event because his deadlift is so poor. It's terrible to say, but
so strong, yes. And that Achilles injury, yes, again, it's a big setback. But it seems like based on his Instagram stories and reels, he's getting back in shape. And it's still a lot of time for him to improve and get to the point where he can be really competitive.
So like I said at the start of the video, we have 10 athletes competing in the Rogue Invitational 2024. Now, the 10 athletes that will be competing are Hafthor Bjornsson, Mitchell Hooper, Tom Stoltman, Luke Stoltman, Alexei Novikov, Matthew Ragg, Tristan Hoth, Bobby Thompson, Evan Singleton, and Thomas Evans.
Yeah. The lineup is good.
Yeah.
But again
there's a couple of things you could change.
Yeah, like Thomas Evans.
He's like you've mentioned it before. Like he's an okay strongman. Like you know he's went from say the amateur level to the pro level, and he's competed in the mid table. I suppose he's never been seen to win any of the shows. I know, was it in the Strongest Man on Earth last year? He had some couple of good events. Was it the stand and bench press? He did well. And like he did well in some events, but he's never been the guy that you could say, right, invite him because he could win it.
Is he a better strongman than Trey Mitchell?
No,
I don't think so. I don't
even
think that he is,
with the injury that he's recovered from.
Yeah. But by comes November, like I think Trey Mitchell. Trey Mitchell will be like fully recovered after that Achilles tear. It's going to be over a year, and again, we're going back to where he was competing in the World's Strongest Man, and he did okay relatively when it comes to
his first show back.
Yeah, so I don't know why they didn't invite him. It's such a weird decision, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but it's the same with like Alexei Novikov tore his bicep. Like he had a bicep injury.
Yeah.
What was that? Europe's Strongest Man. Then you had Luke Stoltman's the same. He has his bicep injury.
Yeah,
that's still ongoing.
Still ongoing. So is it still ongoing? That means he can't really load that biceps and he can't do certain events then. So he's not going to be 100%. So if, let's say, Mateusz, is he surprised that he didn't get an invitation? We don't know.
Yeah, look, it's again it's how would you say, it's down to Rogue Invitational. Have they contacted the athletes? Obviously, they must have contacted some of the athletes to obviously invite them.
I hope that they did. I hope they made an explanation even to Trey Mitchell and Mateusz Kiliakowski why maybe they weren't invited.
Yeah, if they had 10 athletes picked, I hope they were talking to maybe 15 or 16 athletes. As reserves to let them know, you're in there just in case someone doesn't accept the invitation.
That's a good point, actually. I don't know what they're going to do with reserves. Are they gonna get a couple of guys to come in just in case someone pulls out? They usually do that in every competition.
Well,
I think Trey Mitchell one year was a reserve.
Yeah, like I know they do. Like obviously everyone knows at Worlds, there's always a couple of reserves that go there. Like, but the thing is, like, would you not be better off to put them on the reserves list as well? You know, because everything has been announced on the Instagram page, and even with World's Strongest Man, I think that to put down reserves, you can see some of the athletes who are reserved.
Yeah.
So it'd be a good idea to do that for Rogue Invitational as well, because look, it's Strongman. Every single month, there's a Strongman that gets injured before a show. In the lead up to a show. Like.
Yeah. So it would be good for us to know as well before we start speculating. Like, did Trey Mitchell and Mateusz Kalifa wanted to be invited?
Yeah, were they invited? Did they turn it down?
Yeah.
Which is unlikely for that sort of money.
But like, if they wanted to be invited, I don't know why they didn't get invited.
Yeah, because they're top level caliber strongman
based on their previous as well accomplishments, and if they recover pretty well after the surgeries, which again Trey Mitchell seems like he did.
He's training a lot.
Yes,
like very well.
Yeah, that's so he does that, and he's fully getting ready for the Shaw Classic. So it's kind of like I don't know, it's weird sort of a list of athletes, in my opinion, not to include those two, or not to explain maybe why they weren't included. You know?
Is it fair to say, like, if the speculation was that Trey mightn't be, how would you say, ready to compete, maybe in November, but you know what I mean? Because it mightn't have felt his Achilles wasn't ready, but then he goes to the strongest man on earth, which at the moment, I'd say, like, when it happens, will be the heaviest show we've ever seen.
Yes.
Because you have the raw max deadlift, the heaviest stone ever tried to be lifted in an actual competition itself. Like, the squats are going to be heavy, the fingal fingers, and we've seen like the medley that they have, the overhead log medley. Like, Sir Tom Stoneman last year couldn't even get one rep on the log, and he's one of the best log lifters in the world at the moment. Like, so like, if Mitchell can compete, if Trey Mitchell can compete there,
and if he plays ahead of these other guys who got invited, what are you gonna do then?
Yeah, does Rogue go and say, "Oh yeah, your invite is taken back"?
Yeah,
you're not invited.
You can't do that. So it's kind of, I think they kind of rushed it, in my opinion, a little bit.
Way too early.
Yeah, to announce the athletes, and unless we don't know who's reserves, maybe Trey Mitchell is a reserve.
Maybe, Look, we haven't been talking that he's the athletes, so we don't know.
Yeah, so is Mateusz Kielikowski as well as a reserve? I don't know. Would he go?
Well, it's not even the way you go, but why would you have him as a reserve? Because, like, the way I look at it, like, Hafthor Bjornsson, his return, everybody loves Hafthor Bjornsson. Mateusz Kielikowski, everybody was asking, when's Mateusz going to be back? When's Mateusz going to be back?
Especially knowing that he was third last year as well. You know, again, we know that he got injured. We know, but like, how they basing that decision not invite him on what actually?
Well, now you could even say that, like, Evan Singleton injured himself, doing the axle press.
That's right.
And now he's invited.
Yeah.
So, like, is it down to injury, or is it just down to preference of athletes?
Yeah, they have to be talking to them probably. You know, they have to be texting each other and trying to figure out, are they ready? And it's a crazy now, because there's so much money involved in Rogue Invitational. I think even athletes who are like maybe not fully ready or recovered after the injuries, they want to compete just basically because of the money that's involved. You know, so it's the whole thing again. It's a little bit of a drama. Smells like it to me. You know.
Yeah, like, again, like, there's so many athletes. Obviously, you could say that deserve to be there. Like 10 athletes, you could have 12 athletes. A lot of shows have 10 or 12 athletes. Now 10 athletes, obviously, it makes the show more efficient because there's less, say, people to run. But like, I still think, like, some of the athletes, say like Tristan Holt, I know he's done very well, say, in the Worlds.
Yeah, but he's not Mateusz Kielikowski.
He's not Mateusz Kielikowski. He's not Trey Mitchell.
No, he's not yet.
And you could even say, like, you know, because he's Canadian, he might draw a crowd and stuff like that. But like, when you're in Europe, like the Polish crowd.
If we're talking about crowds, like, everybody knows Mateusz.
Yeah.
Mateusz did so many great things for strongman sport. He broke so many records. The loads of his videos went viral as well with the stone, like in Arnold Classic.
He's competed at Rogue Invitational, or not Rogue Invitational. He's competed at Arnold's for as long as I can remember.
Yeah. So
and he's still young, like.
Yeah, he's still young. He's not even 30, I think. Or is he 30?
He's 30. I think he's 30. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know. We just I don't, not brainstorming. What do you call it? We just speculating.
Yeah, speculating because like, we know some of the big names, like Hafthor Bjornsson, clear as day that was going to happen. Yeah. Now we see as well, like we mentioned in the last video, that, you know, he's going to be going for the deadlift record if it's available to him, and some people are saying it mightn't happen. Now, Hafthor has said it himself in a couple of videos
times,
that if it's offered to him, he'd like to do it.
I think he kind of like...
He has to do it.
Yeah, he has to do it. I don't think that he has that many... He said it himself. He has like 2 or 3 more years max left in him.
It was sad. It was sad to hear.
Yeah,
he was talking about retirement.
It's just reality. I think
it's just reality. Age gets to you and things.
Yeah.
And he even mentioned himself. He's getting older. He finds it harder to recover.
Yeah.
So that aspect comes into it as well. Then you have Mitchell Hooper. You have to invite Mitchell Hooper. You have to invite Tom Stoneman. Like Alexei Novikov. He's won it in the past. Like, you know what I mean? He won Rogue Invitational, but he knows himself that he's
at the moment
prone to
in
injury.
The last 2 or 3 years he's not doing that great.
And we even mentioned it before years ago that like he's bionic. Like, you know, he's there's something crazy. He's like Terminator, like Mateusz Kiełkowski, but he's obviously broken at this stage. You know, you can even see in his training he's not training as heavy as he used to be. I don't know. It's hard to see, but like when you do have the big names, like I think Matthew Ragg deserves to be there.
Matthew Ragg, he did pretty good. Yes,
he's done pretty well. He deserves to be there. Yeah. But I feel like if it was me, Tristan Hoth and Thomas Evans, I would sub out for Mateusz Kiełkowski and Trey Mitchell.
Yeah, I know that probably the athletes will disagree.
I know obviously they're going. Look, that's just my speculation because I still think with Evan Singleton, I know he's injured, but he's still podiumed. Like he came third of world strongest man this year. Now it depends on how bad the injury was. Now it could have been a bit of something small, and he's right. I'm not going to push it because I don't want to get injured for obviously strongest man on earth and Rogue Invitational. So like some of the athletes now, Luke Stortman as well. Like same thing. I love Luke. I think he's a great athlete. I think he's like even when he does compete, he's great for selling the show. You know, he's
but like you can see Luke is like as well. He's like on a way down. But again, it's not dishing on them. It's just stating a fact.
It's just stating a fact. But as well as with his bicep injury, like if his bicep is like hampering him that much because it's like he obviously he's done a video recently about
there's literally the hole inside your tendon. Like eventually it probably will pop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's not going to that competition 100%
unless the supplements can fix it. Even
the supplements, unless you have to take these certain supplements like peptides. What do you take for that to heal faster? But you have to be kind of getting scans every month then just to see what's going on there. Is there any healing? Is there nothing happening? You know, so you have to monitor stuff like that and make a decision based on that. I guess.
Well, look, even the way I look at it, it's we mentioned at the start of the video. I still think it's way too early to announce the athletes because we have strongest man on earth in 2 weeks' time, which if someone is carrying anything of an injury, it'll show on that show. Because you try to lift a 272 kilo stone, bang, something's going to pop, something's going to tear.
It's going to be very heavy. It wouldn't surprise me if good few guys gets injured.
Unsupported deadlift for a max, and you have to try to keep up the lineup. Something could pop, something could tear. Then you have the log lift championships for Giants Live. You have the deadlift championship for Las Vegas for the Giants Live. And then you have the World Tour finals in October. So you've got 4 shows between now and then, which are relatively heavy, you could say. Strongest Man on Earth obviously is the heaviest. Yeah. But you then have the 3 Giants Live shows. We see that some athletes, even like Evan Singleton, has picked up an injury in the last Giants Live show before the Rogue Invitational. So like, it's way too early.
Yeah.
Like I think
I agree. Yeah.
Middle of September, middle towards the end of September would have been a great time to announce the athletes.
It's like a month and a half before the competition. You can start marketing them as well. Like I think it's enough time.
We've talked about the location. Like the location obviously is given early, and that's good for people planning to obviously go there, like myself.
Yeah.
But like it's good, say for that way. But I think the events should have been announced before the athletes. If that makes sense.
Agree, yeah.
Like the events should have been announced this week. The athletes maybe 2 months time, a month and a half's time. And I think it's just like 12 weeks is more than enough for any athlete to get ready. But like if they're going to be competing in the Giants Live and Strongest Man on Earth shows, which obviously Tom, Mitch, all these obviously Bar, Hafthor, Bjornsson, like all these guys are going to be warm and ready for the show. So it's not needed to be that early, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree completely with you. So they should have announced events and then the athletes, but they somehow decided to do that the other way. So I don't know. We'll wait and see, and I guess then we'll find out as well about who would be the reserves for that show.
I think we've covered enough in this video. Like we talked about, obviously the 2 athletes that we think should be there in our opinions. Like obviously you'd put Martins Lietzi's there if he was in a better condition and you know he didn't take the time out for doing his videos all around the world. Like, and you can even see himself, Martins is trying to get back into training, but still you couldn't put him in there, even though he has won it in the past. At the end of the day, you have to have the best athletes. You have to have the biggest name athletes because it's a big show. Let us know in the comment section down below what you think. Like, again, like we said, this is just our opinions. We're only speculating with a lot of things. We obviously haven't spoke to obviously either of the athletes that we were talking about in the show. Like, again, we'd love to know your information on this. Do you think they should have announced the events before the athletes, like we were saying? Is it a bit too early to even announce the athletes? Let us know in the comment section down below. We'd love to hear it. If you made it this far in the video and you like this style of video, make sure to press the like button. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, please press the bell icon. It'll keep you up to date with everything that's Lalas Brothers. And we'll see you in a future video.
See you later, guys.